A good, beautiful Sunday morning. It was exactly 4 years ago today that my friends and family woke up to either a message or a phone call from my woman that I probably wasn't going to make it. I'm going to tell you that story today while we come work out. Bubbles! Stairs only. Bubbles are supposed to equal stairs only. WTN. No bubbles. Why there? It's day 14. Day 14, no bubbles. That's a story for another time. Anyway. Welcome to the journey of Broken to Bulkin. Today's a special episode. As I said, is the 4-year anniversary of when this here journey started. Today we're going to tell you this story as we're working out. We're going to see what milestones we've made, and you'll get to check out what I do and what I went through, and hopefully you'll like this video and share it, and it can inspire you to keep on keeping on. But we're going to start with a good warm-up and start with the beginning of the story. So let's get to it. We're going to start it off on one of my personal favorites, the arc trainer. Why the arc trainer? Well, it took me over a year to get onto this machine, to be able to move my legs the way that I can, have the balance, the stamina, even to stand. And that all started January 25th, 2021. Thought it was cool to get 3 sheets in the wind, be emotionally distraught. I was a glutton, not only just for alcohol, but also for food and such. And I wasn't living a really healthy lifestyle. Anyway, we were headed home from Illinois to Indiana on the back roads. Somewhere along the lines, I lost control of my vehicle. I was going pretty fast. I was driving an F-250 Super Duty, and that bad boy flipped somewhere about 300 feet into a field. And then I guess from the police report, I walked 50 feet from that truck, and then my femur collapsed. And that's where I fell, face down in the snow. The officer had found me and got an ambulance to me. Whew. Hey, we're about to hit a quarter mile. At a quarter mile, I gotta go do some push-ups and pull-ups. Come on. So anyhow, what we did was we were transferred in the ambulance to the trauma center. On the way there, they had to cut open from my sternum down past my belly button. They had to stuff me full of packing because all of my inner organs had ripped from their linings. I had double collapsed lungs, renal failure, ended up having heart failure on the way to the trauma center. That was the first of 3 heart failures. And then turns out I had 26 broken bones, including my femur, hip, pelvis, knee, 5 vertebrae, 13 ribs. Still have a separated left shoulder. Now where's it at? There it is. Still separated. You pop that bitch back into place. There it is. Still have a broken right clavicle. You can see I'm not supposed to do that. Clavicles don't do that. But 26 bones, broken bones, multiple organ failures. And then after they stabilized me at the trauma center, I was there for about a week or so before they made the attempt to repair my hip. They were going to do the hip and the femur all at once. Somewhere along the lines, I turned septic. So I was septic, and then somewhere along the lines I caught double pneumonia in those collapsed lungs. So then they had to do the operation at a different time, and they decided to do them separately because I guess after they did the hip, that was the second heart failure. After they completed the hip surgery, my heart flatlined, and they had to bring me back. And when they did, they let me chill for about a week, and they got me in surgery for the femur. So after they did the femur and the pelvis, that had all to be reconstructed on the right, hip on the left, I had another heart failure. So that's 3 heart failures total. And during all that time that I was in the coma, I definitely was not offline. I was seeing some things. Oh, here, we're about to be at half a mile. Woo! More push-ups, more pull-ups. Let's go. So as I was saying, while I was in the coma for that month, I feel as if I can now differentiate between hallucinations, alternate realities. Like I lived through every broken bone or organ failure, like in an individual way, in different dreams. I also lived through the eyes of another 3 separate lives I seen through the eyes of. And then I also spent time in purgatory, and I had a spirit guide. He let me know that if I was there, that I was coming back here, but I could also kind of see a little bit of what was beyond. As a matter of fact, it's one of those days in the sky where there's no clouds. It's just all like one big cloud, grayish, bluish color. It's kind of what it looked like, kind of what it represented as I look off into the distance. Sorry, that was the 3/4 mile mark, as you can see. But yeah, after the whole purgatory situation, I started getting slowly brought back to this reality, and it wasn't just like I'm here, but I can remember, I don't want to say death bringing me back, but you know, something brought me back, an entity brought me back. And when I woke up, I couldn't speak, I couldn't communicate. I had 2 broken shoulders, the ribs, the vertebrae, hip, femur, pelvis. I had a tracheotomy because the double collapsed lungs, so they had to drill a hole in my throat so I could breathe. Oh man, it was a pretty brutal situation to wake up to. And like I said, man, I was curious as to what had happened. It was killing me. It was pretty obvious I was in an accident, but to what degree, to who was with me, I was not able to, you know, fully comprehend and grasp that, and I also couldn't communicate and ask. So for a good couple days there, I didn't know if I was crazy, if I was still hallucinating, still trying to figure it out. And eventually I was able to, when I was finally able to communicate, they would ask me questions, you know, if I knew what year it was, if I knew who the president was, and it was right around the time of the election, so things were just all types of loopy in my head to begin with. And of course things have changed in that month that I was out, but I remember getting brought back too, and like I said, after a couple days, I was able to finally communicate and ask. I was the only one in the accident. I was the only one involved. There was no passengers. There were no other drivers that I hit and collided. I just went off the road in the snow, and I was the only one, thankfully, luckily. But the second thing that I had felt, the second thing that I had went through in my head after I realized that I was the only one, because, you know, I got kids, man. I was worried my kids might have been with me, significant other. I didn't know what had happened. I lost a week's worth of memory prior to the accident. So it happened on the 25th. I don't remember anything after the 18th. But what was I saying? On a real note, though, that second thing that I felt, it was that burden of, I don't want to say alcoholism, but that burden, whatever it was, that just held me down for so long. I had that burden lifted from me, and I tell you what, I've never felt so good. There's your mile, by the way. There's your mile. One more set of pull-ups and push-ups. Clean your machines, clean your machines. But having that burden lifted from my head, from my shoulders, from my thoughts, it really put things into perspective for me, in a sense that I knew I could get through this physically. That wasn't going to be the issue. It was the mental part, everything that I had programmed myself to know before in the way of my thinking, the way of my daily habits. Everything was going to have to change, but it was also, I obviously had to take care of myself physically. Going through everything that I went through, I can honestly say the mental part has been the biggest struggle. Even though I've had to learn how to walk, talk, write, eat, even though I had to learn how to do everything independently all over again, not in a wheelchair, not using a slide board, that physical aspect of it all has still been easier than the change mentally, because 4 years later, I'm still working on myself mentally. We're gonna warm up our knees on some leg curl action, get them hammies hamming, if you know what I'm saying. After waking up from the coma, I had to wait about 3.5 weeks before I could actually start trying to do any kind of physical therapy. I was still hooked up to tubes. They were feeding me through my nose. I'd have the surgery to be fed through the G tube in my stomach. And, it took a while before I could even learn how to eat and swallow and drink all on my own again. But, three, almost 4 weeks before I was able to start doing physical therapy. And that started with a 1 pound weight, a little pink dumbbell. And, the clothespins? Old school clothespins. Couldn't open one of them bad boys with either hand. And the goal was to open it with each finger. and not a lot of resistance there. And then when you were as strong as I once was, kind of hits you in the pride, you know what I mean? Right between the... It also took me about that amount of time to realize the gravity of the situation and understand everything that I had went through. I didn't know how many bones I had broken, how many organ issues that I had going on. I was just kind of there, chilling. And I thought that I was going to walk by St. Patrick's Day of that same year. That's my dad's birthday, and I was like, hey, for your birthday, Dad, I'm going to walk. That wasn't the fucking case. But check out today. Brief intermission before we get to moving them heavier weights. I do have to put on belts because I don't have a right oblique, as you can see. Also, last year, approximately a year ago, they had to repair my abdominal wall. I had diastasis recti. That thing was blown out, looked like a watermelon. But, because of all that, we got to make sure first we're going to push this in place. Got to find something against the wall. See, bubba's gone. So we're going to do 1, number 2, number 3, and a cherry on top. You know, the core support that we can get. Now, all right, back to business. Hopefully we're going to get this here PR. We got 225 on the bar right here. Be the heaviest squat we've had if we can make it happen. So, maybe. Yeah, synchronize it. That was brutally awesome. The 225 squat. I've been chasing that for years. We're gonna try that one more time, get a better angle for you. See-way, see-way. Next, gonna overhead press.
Overhead.
Over the head.
Head.
Get low.
Get some head.
All right, 225. Let's see what we got in the clip. Man, I chased that for so fucking long. Love it. My man. What broken legs? What broken back? Tell me. That was simply amazing. Thanks for being here for that. Man, thanks for being here for that, guy. This fucking guy, always here to push me. So there were a couple requirements for me to meet before I was able to get sent home. I had to be able to urinate a certain amount, make sure all the bowels are working. I had to make sure I was able to pass bowels, if you know what I'm sizzling. I also had to learn how to swallow liquids, chew foods, swallow foods. Those were all like part of the criteria. I had to learn to love again, Nick says, and that's very true. That's part of the mental aspect of the broken to Bulkin. We're gonna try this 225 deadlift, okay? No strappy straps.
Get it. Destroy yourself. See who gives a fuck. I'll get it on some squatty waddies.
I did not expect a 225 deadlift today either, and without the straps. Numbers are really improving. Holy smokes. I love it today. Nicky boy wants a taste. Yeah. That's some cool stuff though right there. Because when I got home, I had to be obviously transferred home in an ambulance. They had to take me from the stretcher into my house. Then my lady had my couch all nice and ready for me. And then that's where I ended up posting up for a hot minute. I was on the couch. I had to use the bathroom there, had to be fed there. And it would still be at least another 2-3 weeks before I learned how to use the slide board to transition to the wheelchair and get a little more independence. That's what I said to that situation. 2 things before we move on to the next exercise. The woman did have to agree that she was going to take care of me and she was cool with me coming home. So kudos to her and thank you for manning up, taking care of my big ass, because I am not a small motherfucker. I'm 6'3" and I came home at 250 pounds, like big boy. And also, it was nice to see my dog, my Haku dog. Haku dog, he was waiting for me. My Haku dog, my metal Haku dog. Unfortunately, he's no longer with us, so R.I.P. to the Haku dog. But he was there. Oh.
Why do you think I'm able to do 12? That's like you're trying to grip. Oh, tiny.
That was interesting. Addition of the weights mid-set. Alright, before I tell you about how fun the wheelchair action was learning at home, we're going to get this 225 up in the air at least once, maybe? Sir, need your spot, sir.
Alright.
Alright.
You ready?
I'm ready. As ready as I'll ever.
Try my balls smell.
Not fragrant.
Not fragrant at all. Not musky. One more full bench than last week.
Man, there's 3 in the clip.
Last week was more than assist.
And my booty didn't even come off the bench. Yeah, it wasn't too long after my birthday I started having to learn to use the slide board to get from the couch to the wheelchair, or from the wheelchair to the bed, from the wheelchair down the hall and to the bathroom. Had to learn how to transition to the toilet. We had a shower chair. You know, the woman hooked me up with the hose that I could do the things and wash my balls. And that was a long time of me just trying to learn to be independent again. I mean, not only that, being 250 pounds, trying to learn how to get off a wheelchair and use a slide board. I mean, my arms were still weak as hell. My back was still all broken, messed up. Ribs were still hurting. And you know, that even that big scar I had down here, up and down, that had eventually tore in the process of me learning how to stand and move. I tore that hernia, and I actually made a video, like kind of documented the thing, made multiple videos of that surgery. That was last year. So after that started tearing open, during me learning how to move and walk, I went to the hospital, and I also found out that my colon was still out of place. I had torn my abdominal wall, and also I did not have a right oblique, so my lower intestines pops out above where I shattered my pelvis on the right side. And that's the whole deal with the belts, because my core is just completely shot up. But here we are today, 225 on the bench, not too shabby. Talking shit. So after we got a good grip on learning how to transition with the slide board from different seats in the wheelchair, and then we essentially graduated from home therapy, we moved on to outside therapy because I was able to get into the vehicle, and of course I needed more equipment and a facility to help me improve physically. I should not have come home as early as I did. They wanted to send me to an actual physical rehabilitation center and stay there for about a month and a half until I learned how to do everything, but I could not stand being around all those white walls and those fluorescent lights. But that after I graduated from, like I said, the home therapy, I went to outside physical therapy, and after insurance had ran out for outside physical therapy, that's what brought me here to the YMCA. Touch back on that in the next exercise here, but we're going to overhead press this 155, hopefully for more than one.
5.
Go ahead a little. Almost fast.
Not a fan.
You should have said it. You threw it on. I would have done it. Now I'm thinking about it. I can't do it.
Spot, man.
Vagina.
I'm gonna attempt this again. I'm not taking no for an answer. Thank you. After insurance would no longer cover outside physical therapy, we had to start transitioning to the YMCA. They had an elevator, they had all the machines that we needed to transition from the slide board and the wheelchair onto the said machine and use all the exercises I discovered while in physical therapy. And that's how this adventure started, the journey of Broken to Bulkin. And when we got here, we could barely do anything on any machine, could barely move any weights, but we slowly got there, and you can see what I've been doing. And right now, we're about to do this here 495 hip thrust, 495 pounds on the hip thrust. See what we got in the clip.
2 more.
10.
You gotta be careful. That fucker will fall out.
There's 10 in the clip for you. So, this is where we're at now. This is how far the journey's gone in the past 4 years. My bad. Nick's little dick hit the tip. So, check me out. Follow me on my other videos. You can see the progress that I've made in the past 4 years. We try to post content regularly. So now you've seen the better half of the physical reformatting. You can subscribe, check out my Sunday videos. I've been trying to make more of those so you can learn more about the mental aspect. You can also check out several interviews I've done over the years, 2 on the Required Taste podcast. I'll leave those in the description. I also recently did an interview on the Panel Network for my 4 years of sobriety. And also I did another podcast on the Panel Network Entertainment Podcast. Go check that out. I'll leave them all in the description. But until then, you get up, get out, go do something positive for yourself. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Yeah. Much love. It's all I want. After the credit scenes, this guy right here, he was with me in the accident. He had to be rebuilt. You can see the different colors, different types of armor. He lost almost all his armor. He lost an entire leg in the accident with me. So it's my matching Magnus. Sorry for him in a future video.